Hello and welcome to my channel, Teacher from Finland. My name is Jouni Vilkka, and in this video I continue my series on the introduction to ethics. But before going further into the theories of ethics, I think it is important to take a look at certain concepts that are especially relevant to ethics. Therefore, in this section I will do exactly that. If you are interested in philosophical ethics, perhaps you should consider subscribing to my channel. I begin by looking at the concept that is perhaps most obviously important: moral. An act is said to be moral if it is in accordance with morals. Often the term ethical is used in the same sense, but more about that a bit later. Also, a person can be described as moral if they tend to usually behave very well or even strictly in accordance with morals. Exactly which morals we are talking about may not be obvious. It could be the morals of the person being described, or it could be the morals of the person doing the describing. I suspect that the use of the word moral is less common than the use of the word immoral. That is because proper conduct does not stand out as easily as improper conduct. When a person is seen as doing something wrong, their behavior can be called immoral. It is clearly against morals. This time there is usually no confusion about whose morals are being applied. The person speaking is denouncing the behavior of another person by calling it immoral. So the behavior is at least against the morals of the speaker and most likely also of the intended audience. By using the word immoral, one is trying to influence the behavior of other people to enforce certain morals. This is normative behavior, and also how norms are not only enforced but also taught to children and in general renewed or upheld. The morals of a community require this for the morals to continue to exist. Stories can be used to do this in the absence of actual immoral behavior. For example, movies often do this by depicting immoral behavior and people so behaving suffering the consequences of that behavior. In some cases, you might not agree with the morals the movie is conveying, for example with regard to sexuality. For example, promiscuous young women tend to die in horror movies, and that can be seen as a way of teaching the audience that the consequence of promiscuity can be death. More obviously, at least simplistic movies tend to have baddies and the good guys fighting against each other, with the good guys winning in the end. Besides moral and immoral acts, there are also amoral acts. This means just acts that are not moral, but sometimes the word is used much the same way as immoral. It should not, as it might be useful to distinguish acts that are simply not morally relevant from those that are. A person can also behave amorally. This can be a bad thing, but we can emphasize that the person so behaving is completely disregarding morals, or at least our morals, while perhaps being motivated by some other goal. For example, a politician might seek power with no regard for morals and use any means available to them to achieve their goal. This behavior could be immoral from our point of view if what they do is against our understanding of morals, but we could see that the politician does not share our morals and so call them amoral instead. Of course, we would be stupid to not oppose a politician like that. Sometimes we might even think that behaving amorally, making decisions with disregard for morals, might be the right thing to do. It is unfortunately fairly common to think that businesses should be run only with the purpose of making profit in mind. I hope more and more people are finally seeing that this is not the case and that making profit is no excuse for immoral decisions. If we go around accusing people of being immoral or amoral or behaving immorally, we are moralizing others. This is often understood to be bad behavior itself, especially if the person doing the moralizing is being a hypocrite, actually guilty of doing the things they accuse others of doing. Perhaps because of the influence of Christianity, it is often thought that in general accusing others is wrong, that we should remember our own moral shortcomings and be more forgiving. I agree with this to some extent, but clearly we also have to speak out against the evil we see. If we can point out significant bad behavior in a way that leads to people changing their ways, we are making the world slightly better. The key is to find a way of doing so effectively and without causing harm that negates too much of the good effect. For example, we could go around beating people up for littering, but that would hardly make the world a better place. If instead we can talk to people littering in a way that makes them understand why they shouldn't litter, the change in the world will be more positive. As I have previously explained, there is a difference between how I use the terms morals and ethics. When I use the term ethics, I mean philosophical ethics. Moral behavior is in accordance with morals, but the morals in question might themselves be questionable. The point is, if the person following morals does so blindly, simply because that is how they have been taught to behave, they are acting morally in accordance with their morals, but I might still call their behavior unethical. For a person to behave ethically, they must think of their morals philosophically and form their own morals through that rational thought. Even better, they can also consider the choices at hand philosophically and seek to make the best decision that way. This would be practicing ethics, and so ethical behavior. I might still disagree with the decision or evaluation of the situation, but if they are at least doing their best, I cannot call them unethical. Next time, I will be talking about moral subjects, moral agents, and the moral significance of intentionality, or the intent of an act. See you then. If you wish to support my channel, please click thumbs up, subscribe, and share my videos. Any comments on the videos would also be welcome.